Hello, hello. Happy Sunday to everybody. Sunday fun day. Welcome to Live at the Waterhole here. My name is Terry Dupree and I will be joining you on this afternoon's session of Live at the Waterhole. We've got some lovely elephant bulls here. Actually, they seem to be similar bulls that we saw last week Sunday. I guess they must really enjoy this spot here in the Mapuche land. Yeah, it's a lovely Sunday, nice and cool this Sunday. A nice winter's day. Got some impala there as well. I must say, I think I'd also like to be standing underneath a nice shady tree, enjoying a drink down by the waterhole this afternoon. But just to give you a bit of information today, just a reminder that this is a live and interactive show. Please feel free to send through your questions and comments and join in the conversation. Don't forget to tag at Wild Earth. So if you would like to engage, send us some questions and comments. We're looking out for some birds today, seeing what other wildlife we can see. Also be doing a bit of an update on what's been happening at all of our locations this week. There's been a lot of excitement and a lot of activity. So don't forget to send through your questions, comments, or head over to X as well. Use our hashtag. It does look like a nice sunny day, I must say. It hasn't been too cold the last couple of days here in South Africa. I am in Johannesburg at the moment, and our last few days have been not too chilly. Ellie Bull looks like he's just come from the watering hole, having a nice drink, probably heading off to cause some mischief and mayhem somewhere. So I know we have had quite an exciting week from some of our locations. Djuma has been pretty busy with lots of leopard sightings. I know Shalamba's cubs have been seen, her two cute little cubs. Saw a video uploaded earlier, about 6 days ago. Two of them playing on a rock. Oh, they are the most adorable little creatures. I don't know if any of you have been following the show this week, but I would definitely stay close to my TV and be watching the Wild Earth sunset and sunrise safaris, because the leopard activity has been out of this world. There's also been a little bit of lion activity too. Joanne Mello, happy Sunday. Thank you for joining me. I hope you will be with me for the duration of this live at the waterhole. If you have any questions, send them through. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday, Joanne Mello. So of course, as well as with the leopard activity we've been talking about, we've also had Leluka, who is Tabiwa's favorite leopard, that I believe has been showing herself quite a lot, and she is a very impressive looking female leopard. I have not seen her yet, but I hope by the time I get back to Wild Earth, she might still be around. But Djuma's leopard activity has been really, really great this last week. There's also a bit of wild dog activity, which always keeps us busy, as well as our directors. And Amakala, I believe they also had a bit of lion activity this week, a brief sighting on this morning's sunrise safari. And then I think they almost had a lion kill at Amakala. They were hunting warthogs, but unfortunately they were unsuccessful on this day. And another male lion at Amakala, which they saw what for? Sorry, excuse my pronunciation of that male's name. Apparently he's also showing signs of being ready to mate. And I also saw a pretty cool lion video from Djuma this week, from Cedric. of the male lion coalition, the Kambula coalition, walking down the road. Oh, they look pretty impressive, I must say. Pretty impressive and unfazed actually. Oh, these elephants have had a lovely morning. So we'll just have a bit of a quiet moment. Cool. Looks like we're starting our morning off quite well with a lot of elephant activity. There's something exciting waiting for us. Elephants are doing something interesting over at Old Donyo. Let's head over and see what's happening with the elephants at Old Donyo in Kenya. Oh, hello. Welcome to Old Donyo in Kenya, folks. This is definitely one of the destinations that is on my list. I would love to come and see these incredible tuskers in Old Donyo. And surprise, surprise, we also have a giraffe that's come down for a drink. So let's just have a quiet moment while we listen to this elephant bull having a nice drink. Oh dear, that is definitely a compromising view of this giraffe. I don't wonder if he knows we're watching. Well, that was off. Looks like we also have some zebra in the background there. I must say, I really do love watching this Soldanyo live feed. I haven't in the last 2 weeks seen any, well, last Sunday I was also on the live at the waterhole and we saw some big elephant bulls, but I must say I definitely have seen some bigger bulls on the Soldanyo live stream here. So I hope today we'll have some big bulls coming down. I must say those tusks are pretty impressive on some of the bulls that come down to this pan. Looks like our zebras are heading off. Not a dazzle of zebras there, not hanging around too long. Righty, I am quite a birder, and I must say I really enjoyed last week Sunday. We did keep a birding list of all the birds we saw. Not necessarily all the birds we heard, but I'd like to do sound and sight together. So I'm going to be keeping a bird list for the day. And if any of the viewers have seen or heard any birds that I might have missed, please feel free to send them through and we will add them to the list. The number I'm trying to beat from last week Sunday is 22. We're very lucky. Last week Sunday we got 22 different bird species on site. Looks like it's a nice sunny cloudy day at Otonyo up in Kenya. Some nice clouds forming there. I know Juma's dam cam today. What? I think he's done. Juma's dam cam today looked pretty windy, I must say. I think if I was on the sunset safari in Juma, I would definitely use the jacket today. Cool. Frightening little zebra there. Maybe they'll come down for it. So Indigo, we have a question from an Indigo. Ooh, and there's another Ellie that's just come down to drink. What have we got there? We got some birds. keeping up the zebra. They seem a bit nervous. Big elephant balls also coming to check out the watering hole. So I have a question from Indigo. It's asking about how come we never see birds on elephants' backs. Well, actually, interesting to ask that, Indigo. I have seen oxpeckers on elephants before. Like to get into those little nooks and crannies to feed on any parasites they could find. But yeah, generally, don't see too many animals, birds sitting on the back of elephants' backs. I know cattle egrets also like to hitch a ride on buffalo and even hippo. So maybe also try and pick up on any parasites that might be, well, kind of insects, grasshoppers might be disturbing grass. We have something, some elephant dung. Nothing see if we can see any birds. There's some butterflies flying down there. So obviously, with the dry season approaching, in winter now, but dry season is definitely hitting most areas in Africa. Lots of the butterflies will definitely be coming down to all these watering holes and water sources with some moisture. Elephants seem to be digging around in the mud a bit. Some birds down there. Nope. Lots of butterflies today. Yeah, so we're talking about birds sitting on elephants' backs. So yeah, I generally haven't seen many birds on elephants' backs. Oxpeckers I've seen a couple of times, giving elephants a hard time and being a parasite removal cleaning service. But otherwise, it's generally your smaller antelope, zebra, buffalo, hippo. Oh, even some cattle sitting on warthogs before. Again, pitching a ride, and often you'll see the cattle egrets will follow the herds of buffalo or individual bulls, and then if they're not sitting on the back to kind of walk the insects, they'll actually be on the ground following them. Yeah. Let's have a look into what this elephant is doing. Ooh, welcome back everyone if you're just joining us. Big Edinburgh. I know Woodhouse has joined us here. I'll join you for a little bit of a drink. Oh, tea water. A little family group of warthogs, can be referred to as either a squeal or a sounder of warthogs. So this looks like a female with possibly the two youngsters from last year. So these two are probably already a year or over a year old, coming for a nice drink. Oh, there's our zebra. Hello, with some oxpeckers on his back, and our first birds for the day. These look like red-billed oxpeckers, if I'm not mistaken. Must be quite warm at Aldonio, seeing as our elephant is having a nice mud bath. There we go. Red-billed oxpeckers. Oh, there's a lot of them on there. Some juveniles in there, the ones with the black bills. Whoop. Looks like the elephant decided he didn't want to share his watering hole with the zebra. But looks like we've got some more zebra just under the tree over there. This elephant is not happy sharing his watering hole today. We are here at Old Donyo. Quite a lot of activity. We had an elephant bull who was already at the watering hole, who's left already, and another big bull joining us. He's got some quite fatty ears over there. This elephant bull does not seem to share his watering hole with anyone else. He's letting the warthog stay behind. Chased away some zebra just now. We have quite a lot of ox pickers here that are sitting on the back of the warthogs now, as well as I believe those are the wattled starlings. Yep, there's also a cape turtle dove or ring-necked dove. We're adding to our birding list for the day. And wattled starling, I must say, if you have never seen a wattled starling, I would definitely Google it. The males have very impressive wattles that develop on their below their chin during the breeding season. They have this black patch of skin and these yellow wattles that I must say are quite beautiful. Alright, so we have Space Ian Crow. Thank you very much for your comment about the rare bird species you've seen in Oldania, like finches and widers. I will definitely keep a lookout for these finches and widers. And the cutthroat finch. Yes, that is a good bird to see. I must say, I've only ever seen the cutthroat finch 3 or 4 times before. It's a pretty impressive little bird. And look at all of these oxpickers are enjoying grooming with each other. So there can be a bit of a nuisance when there's so many like that. Looks like in the shade of the trees we also had some giraffes that were with us earlier. Standing in the shade. Looks like it must be quite a warm day over at Oldonyo. More birds there. We have these laughing doves. Look like laughing doves. We did see some really beautiful starlings last week at Oldonyo. Oh, isn't this elephant bull an impressive specimen? Seems a bit anxious, I must say, though. He chased off those zebra earlier, and yeah, he's been a bit angsty. He is up, and yeah, has not really seemed too relaxed. Where is he off to? More birds up there. There's either our wattled starlings, females. So the females are pretty drab, I must say. Not too impressive. Yeah, there we go. Our wattled starlings. Looks like mostly the females. And then, of course, the males only really change. I mean, you can still see the males they still have a bit of color to their face, a bit of black and yellow during the non-breeding season. But during the breeding season, they are super impressive. We'll just have a listen out. Maybe we can hear more birds. So obviously these wattled starlings might have come down to the watering hole, had a nice bath, and it looks like they're sunning themselves. Giving themselves a bit of a clean there. So Gavin, DMV, we have a question from a Mr. Gavin. DMV was asking about what tips I would normally give to people who just started birding. Well, of course, I would always suggest finding yourself a decent pair of binoculars. I know Swarovski binoculars, well, those can be all the way up to over $1,000, $2,000 for a decent pair of Swarovski binoculars. But I mean, you get very good Bushnell binoculars, or yeah, we've just been, while the team has just been sponsored with the Gear It Up binoculars, which I am very much enjoying myself, I must say. Otherwise, I do also have a pair of Bushnell binoculars that have lasted very well considering some of the places I've worked. But yeah, a good pair of binoculars is always very useful so that it helps you with identification and being able to see certain features well. I mean, if you have a camera already, that's also helpful. Obviously, a very good birding book or a birding app. My favorite birding book is Birds of Southern Africa. At least you get so it's Southern Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa. Very good. Or you can also use the apps. So it's good to have a book as your reference key for back at home. And then when you're in the field, if you don't take your book with you, of course, there are some very good birding apps. Like the Merlin app is very good. It's a free app that has all the calls and the maps and lots of pictures. Or, of course, you get Sassel and Robert's birding apps as well. Or Birds of Africa. So it's also another birding app which helps you to identify all the birds. And then if you really want to get into it, got a ringneck dove here, or known as the turtle dove. Names change quite often. And then, of course, once you really get into birding, then you can always download the lassoring apps like Bird Lasser, or eBird is very good for taking your lists in different locations. But of course, you must be quite certain of your identifications before you submit your lists and the locations. These apps are very useful for research and are used by universities in order to record birds and bird species and movements and different habitats. So yeah, it definitely helps to create a very good database in order to monitor these bird species. So thank you very much for the question, Gavin. I hope that was helpful. So Proudly SA is asking about if there are any behavioral differences that you can see in different dove species. So yes, Proudly SA, I would definitely say lots of different behavioral differences between the different bird families. For example, doves, you would find obviously certain doves would eat different types of food, hang out in different areas, open areas, closer to watering holes, depending on what food they would be needing to feed on, different seed types, different sizes. Your smaller doves, I find, are a little bit more shy and skeptical to spend much time at watering holes. They won't hang around there too long. Whereas your bigger doves, the Cape turtle doves, ringneck doves, will hang around watering holes a lot longer. Oh, our zebra has come to join us at the watering hole, as well as our giraffe. Hello. Looks like we have 3 bulls here. Giraffe bulls, and saying he's definitely being harassed by those ox pickers. They were just standing underneath the shade of the tree over there. Kind of probably an indicator that it's quite a warm day over in Kenya, Eldoño. During these hot summer days, you'll find a lot of the antelope species will spend a lot of their time in the shade and kind of moving between the shade and the watering hole, as well as feeding a little bit in between. Giraffe are very curious of something. So there are, I believe, between 7 to 9 different giraffe species in Africa, and the reticulated giraffe do roam around in Kenya, in the northern and eastern parts of Kenya. And in the southern part of Kenya, we do get the Maasai giraffe. can see with these Maasai giraffe, their kind of patterns do seem to be a lot more splayed and kind of, they're not as solid, not solid spots like our giraffe in southern Africa. But I must say, I'm looking forward to seeing my first reticulated giraffe one day when I travel to Kenya. Those spots of theirs seem super impressive, and the colors a lot darker. So it's a lovely Sunday afternoon, I must say, and if you're sitting at home watching with us today, I'd like to just take a few moments of silence just to enjoy the sounds of nature and just to unwind and reflect on your week and just enjoy this beautiful view that we have in front of us. So we have a question that's just come in from Jan, who's asking, do oxpeckers still feed off diseased animals? So Jan, I think it would depend, but I have still seen oxpeckers feeding off of sick animals. For example, buffalo, I've seen quite a few old, diseased, sick buffalo bulls that are still fed on by oxpeckers. But of course, it would kind of depend on where they are, because of course, oxpeckers would always need to be close to where there are a lot of different animal species. Where I've seen one buffalo that was very isolated, far away from a lot of other animals, and he had no oxpeckers on him at all. So I would guess as long as they are kind of within close proximity of water, as well as other animals to feed on, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't still feed on diseased animals. Um, yeah, Shane, they can be quite a parasite. I have seen also some buffalo that have like got nasty, yeah, ears that are, yeah, bleeding and kind of falling apart, and these oxpeckers are just, yeah, really not giving them much of a break. So Shane, it is quite sad to see them when they're like that. Like I said, oxpeckers can be an anti-parasitic, so they can help to remove the parasites from a lot of animals, which is great. But also, if they have open wounds, also again, it is good to sometimes keep that scab off and keep the wounds open so they don't get infected. But when they kind of, yeah, start to irritate wounds and don't give it time to heal, then it can be a bit of a nuisance to animals. So Sandy is saying, hopefully we see the 1 ton and 1 puck elephant today here at Old Donyo. Yes, Sandy, I have my fingers crossed. That would definitely be an amazing sighting. And Andrew, the video guy, is saying that he loves the variety of wildlife and bird species at the waterhole this morning. Yes, we are having a lot of activity here at Old Donyo. Just enjoy the sounds of these wildlife. The old oxpeckers calling as well. Canine Girl, thank you for joining us today, Canine Girl. And yes, it is really awesome watching these giraffes drinking. It is very fascinating. I will definitely agree with you. Yeah, it does make me always feel super grateful that I can just grab my water bottle and open it and drink it with ease. Imagine having to bend over like that and separate your legs in order to get some water, like the giraffe have to do. And if you watch them very closely, when they lift up their heads, the tongue kind of has to sometimes swirl back and keep the water from from falling out of their mouth. I always find it funny. So if you are ever sitting at a watering hole watching giraffe, I would suggest getting ready with your camera for that moment to actually lift their head out of the water. And I have got some very funny pictures of giraffe with water coming out of their mouth and their tongues doing very strange things when they throw their heads back like that. There's our waterhole starlings that have come down. Also have a bit of a bath at the watering hole. Have a look at them there. They'll come down in any little puddles close to the water. They'll use those puddles to clean and groom themselves. I'm not seeing too many males in that group. It looks like just a group of female wattled starlings. Giraffe. So when the giraffe bends down like this, it does put them into quite a compromising position. Makes them quite vulnerable, same as when giraffes are lying down. Looks like these two male giraffes want to have a bit of a duel, a bit of a fight. When giraffe battle, they call this necking, when the males stand like that side by side and use their heads as a weapon to try and overcome their opponent. Let's have a watch and see what's going to take place here. Oh, what is happening there? So I'm sure you've all watched some very interesting documentaries of giraffe fighting, and sometimes they will literally fight to the dead. So they use those heads of theirs as like hammers and tools or a weapon to try and injure their opponent. And sometimes, if you've ever managed to find or see a giraffe skull, you'll see it actually forms these huge kind of lumps on their heads, and that actually it's a good thing. It helps to make their head the bigger and more kind of lumpy that head of theirs is. I think it's kind of like a hammer. They use it as a weapon in order to defeat their opponents, and sometimes they'll even injure or damage their ossicones, those horns on the top of their heads there. And yeah, it can be quite brutal, some of these fights, when you hear one giraffe hitting either the rump or the neck of another giraffe. You could even sometimes, I've witnessed a few fights before, and even I kind of could feel the pain that was inflicted by the opponent there. The idea is, they'll. Okay, we have some zebra activity over in coral, so let's see what else we can possibly find in coral there. Oh wow, welcome to Coral here in the Southern Sands, everybody. That is definitely a dazzle of zebra, I must say. So zebra is one of my favorite animals in safari. I am actually sitting here with my little zebra friend. Got a little zebra stuffed teddy there, that's my lucky zebra. And he wants to bring me a lucky zebra luck, especially today. Look at all of these zebras. So I'm definitely a sucker for zebra. I don't know if we have any more zebra fans out there that love zebra. So this is quite a big group of zebra. Generally, I mean, besides in places like Kenya, or maybe in places like Delta Delta, or areas where you might get the migrations, generally zebras kind of just hang out in smaller family groups, anything from 3 to about 5 or 6. We've got a little baby there too. I was recently in a trip to Namibia and Botswana, and as we were traveling to the Makadi Pans, we did see some of the zebras starting to kind of accumulate into bigger groups heading towards the Makarikari pans, where possibly they could start or starting to form parts of the migration. Was actually pretty insane to see. Also must have been 50, 60, 70 zebra altogether, which is not a common thing to see like even today. A lot of zebra here. Let me see if I can count how many zebra we've got here. I agree with you, canine girl. This is definitely where all the zebra are hiding, and I must say I could sit and watch this all day. Um, I am definitely a sucker for when you're on safari. I know a lot of people don't have much patience to actually sit and watch at watering holes, but I promise you, they do pay off sometimes. Just sitting, watching, waiting, what's happening. I had a little bit of a count just now, and there's definitely over 20 zebra here. But again, it will probably be a few different family units, a little a dozen of zebra, a few different groups within one group that will all come to communally drink at this watering hole today. So, any people, I have a question to send out to all of our viewers that are watching us today. If you have been watching our safaris during the week, the sunrise and sunset safaris, I'd love for you to send in for me your favorite leopard sighting. I know there's been a lot of leopard sightings this week, or even if it was a wild dog sighting or one of the lion sightings, but I've seen a lot of awesome sightings coming in this week. I know Juma has been very, very exciting and lots happening with all the rosettes and lions, and yes, the cats have been out and about. So please send through your favorite leopard or wildlife sighting from this last week. I must say, I'm going to have to go with Columba's cubs are going to be my favorite sighting of the week. And then I really did enjoy watching the Kambula coalition walking down the road. That was also pretty exciting. Tadiwa, what was your favorite sighting of the week? I think Tadiwa is your favorite sighting of the week. Your leopard, Laluka. I know Laluka is your favorite, and there were some amazing videos that came out from Laluka's sightings this week. So Tadiwa, our presenter today, was just our producer today was just telling me that Luca, she's definitely been very active this week. There's been a few different sightings. Apparently, she tried to catch a scrub hare. Did she actually catch it, or was it just an attempted hunt? Welcome, welcome everyone. If you're just joining us, we are sitting here watching a watering hole in the Sabi Sands. We have been super lucky this morning with our zebra stripes. Our zebra have definitely given us a lot of entertainment today. We've got a big herd here. Well, it's probably a few micro herds that have joined up into a bigger herd that are all enjoying the day. Seems like it's a nice cloudy day in the Sabi Sands. I must say the weather in Juma, Kruger, Sabi Sands this week has definitely seemed to be a little bit overcast, some chilly mornings maybe even, and it was quite windy earlier at the dam camp. So we've had some nice cool winter weather. Yeah, our days in South Africa at the moment have been quite pleasant, I must say. Not too cold, but not really hot, so it's been lovely weather. We are also doing a birding challenge today. Um, it is another bird mania day, so we're trying to see what birds we can see in here around all of our locations. So please, if you see something I do not see, please feel free to send through. I'm also dying to hear what everyone's favorite sightings were from this last week. What was your favorite cat sighting? See if there's any tracks down there at the waterhole. It's always a great spot to look for cat tracks, lions, leopards, wild dog. Often find civets, jackal, if you're lucky, maybe porcupine tracks down at watering holes like this too. You see, obviously we are in our dry season, so the grass is all pretty short. Oh, got some impala, a young impala ram coming down to have a drink. Our dry season is definitely upon us. It's nice to see there's still a bit of greenery there in the Sabi Sand. So green trees, a little bit of green grass. The zebra is getting a nice grooming from the ox pickers. One looks like it's almost in his ear. Oop, another bird down there. Pepper dove or ring-necked dove. You see another one? The superb starling, that was the bird I was trying to think of. So we saw some awesome starlings over at Odonyo last week. The superb starlings. Definitely a beautiful one to see. I haven't seen them yet. They're on my list. Maybe we'll see some today as well. Dove, the ring-necked dove, has also come down for a nice drink. Lots of bird tracks in the mud here. Let's see if we can maybe find any tracks. Cool. Seems like we've got some activity over at Tembe. Let's go see what's happening at Tembe. Welcome to Tembe, everyone. We had some elephant balls earlier here, and looks like they have decided to have a mud bath. I don't know when the last time any of you folks at home had a mud bath. I must say, it definitely is something that brings a lot of joy and entertainment. So these two balls are testing each other a little bit. Let's see what's going to happen here. I don't think this is very much of a serious fight, otherwise this could go very badly wrong. And then Nyala walks behind this elephant on the right here. There's a female Nyala. Oh, these two boys look like they're just having a little bit of a play fight kind of interaction going on here. You can see by how relaxed his trunk is just resting on this other elephant ball, and again his left front foot is lifted off the ground, so he's kind of indecisive there, wondering what to do next. I think it might just be a bit of a bonding moment too. This bull on the right definitely is being a little bit overconfident, I would say, because if these two had a fight, the elephant with the bigger tusks on the left would definitely be the winner here. So Miranda is asking, would elephants still swim when it's raining? So yes, Miranda, I have actually seen elephants swimming while it is drizzling, but yet the sun is still out. So in Africa, we call it a monkey's wedding, when the sun is still shining and there's a little bit of a trickle of rain. You know, those beautiful afternoons when it's kind of like golden with the light. Oh, look at these guys. What are they up to? So yeah, I have seen elephants swimming in a light shower of rain, but definitely on the colder days when it is cold, elephants are not really too fond of getting wet. It's more on those sunny days, midday, heat of the day, kind of when the elephants are really hot is when it's always a great time to have a nice elephant pool party. I must say I did enjoy quite a few elephant pool parties over at Juma. At some of those pans, Gowrie Dam is always a good spot for an elephant pool party. The little babies are always the most entertaining, and of course the big bulls, they'll go right in there and completely submerge themselves in water and just play with each other, which is the most fascinating thing to watch. These giant creatures in the water playing. Of these two bulls, yeah, they're not too serious. They're, again, feeling a bit like me, like a lazy Sunday feel. You can see how relaxed their trunks are, and they're actually just putting their trunks down and resting. And they want to play, but it's not. Like, play fighting is very important with elephants, especially young bulls. These two bulls are, I would say, definitely very well matured. This one on the left is, yeah, he's quite an impressive size. The bull on the right is a bit younger, so he might just be practicing. Play fighting and sparring is quite important in a lot of young bull species like elephants, buffalo, even lions, kudu, impala. It's very important for kind of later in life developing these skills. So you'll see younger bulls will kind of sometimes pick a fight with older bulls in more of a playful manner, as long as they are submissive. It's very interesting watching this behavior. I can hear a common bulbul calling in the background there. Oh, and I can also hear a grey hornbill calling. So that's a very high pitched trumpeting sound, squeaking sound. Grey hornbill. Here we go. Almost got a bit of a whistle to it. Impala on the left there. So I did ask our viewers about what were your favorite leopard or lion sighting was during the week. If you're watching, I'd love to know what your favorite sighting was from the safaris during the week. My number one will definitely have to be Columba's little cubs that we've seen and finally got on video. That just melted my heart, seeing those little two cubs playing on the rocks, playing with each other. One of the little ones almost tried to stalk something. That was also very, very cute. So Jana is asking the lumber from behind. Okay, so Jana's sending in her favorite leopard sighting from the week, which was the lumber. And then she ran off trying to hunt an impala. So Falamba trying to hunt. That is a very, very cool sighting. Flalamba is one of my favorite leopards in Juma. Of course, I've only seen a small handful of leopards, but so far she's definitely been the most camera friendly, and yeah, she shows herself quite often. So yeah, Flalamba is a beautiful leopard as well. Very good sighting. We've got another answer to my question coming in here. Mercedes Bene. His best favorite sighting for the week was Luca. Yes, Laluca definitely. I've seen some of the videos that have come through, and she is a beautiful leopard. I actually saw one of the videos of her actually just giving a bit of a vocalization. So obviously she's back in the area, roaming around, making sure everyone knows she's the turf area. Gavin DMV also had his favorite sighting being Columba drinking. He had a watering hole. So it sounds like there have been a lot of sightings of these two female leopards. I know there's also been quite a few sightings of leopards at Juma more than one or two leopards at the same time or together. I know TP, was it TP that was seen this morning? Yeah, TP and Leluca that were both seen this morning. So nice to see lots of leopard activity around. Oh, this elephant is having the best time. So elephants will often mud bath in order to, one, protect their skin from the sun. It's also like a nice exfoliating spa. Everyone likes to go to the spa, right? A bit of a mud mask, full body mud mask. Also can help with parasites and also to remove parasites. They'll put on their skin to protect against parasites, and then while they rub it off, it helps to get rid of the ticks as well. So Mike is also sending in one of his favorite sightings from the week, which again was our female leopard Leluca when she was jumping into the tree this morning, apparently, I believe. So Leluca and TB apparently were both seen. TB is another big male leopard and quite a regular one of the characters at Juma. Male leopards are seen quite often. So yeah, looks like you guys had an amazing sunrise safari this morning with us at Wild Earth. So it looks like on the other side of the watering hole there we've got impala, but is that a woolly necked stork there? No, we had a woolly necked stork here in Tembe. Oh, yeah, two woolly necked storks. So there we go. I thought it was a reflection. It looks like there's actually one woolly necked stork lying down and another one standing up. Oh, and we've also got some little waxbills calling. You can hear the in the background, little waxbills and a rattling cisticola. You can see a lot of mining holes here around this watering hole, and these can either be from during the rainy season when we used to water in these little wallows, or like you can see this elephant now is also digging and kind of cleaning himself. But also there could be sodak areas. So sodak areas are very important in the ecosystem for wildlife. They're generally very high in minerals, salt, sodium, and the animals will actually come and feed on these sodak areas, feed on the salts and minerals in these areas. So they normally are protected areas, so we always, while on game drives, while on safari, always avoid driving over sodak areas as you don't want to disturb these areas. Animals do need to get a certain amount of salts and sodiums and minerals in their diet, and this is how they normally get these minerals, is by these soda areas. Yeah, woolly neck storks are both standing up now. There they are. Woolly neck storks. So they'll generally, I think we did see, I saw one woolly neck stork here, same, and last Sunday. So nice to see a pair of them together. Oh, female impala. Oh, there's a Hadida ibis hiding in there. I'm sure it's one of the national sounds of South Africa, that typical Hadida. Wah, wah, wah. If we find any other water birds on this like kind of nice reeded marshy area, perfect for little grebes or black crakes or African zucana, perfect habitat for certain water birds, waterfowls like this. Seems to be a little bit empty today. Looks like perfect nesting grounds as well for something like your red-knobbed coots who'd like to nest in that nice thick green vegetation. You can hear this elephant walking close to the camera here. go. Speak of the devil, let's found our Jesus bird, African jacana. This is perfect habitat vegetation for the African jacanas, so their feet are actually double the length of their bodies. And that's in order to be able to walk on this kind of vegetation. So that's where they get the name Jesus bird from, because they believe that they can actually walk on water. You see this little jacanas busy grooming himself. I love that blue shield, the iridescent blue shield on the front of their faces there. Kind of bending down closer to the vegetation so you can't see how long his legs are. So he does have very long legs, very, very long feet. Generally, the males will be the ones to look after the chicks. So the females just, unfortunately, not for this mother. Once the chicks are hatched, then the male's responsibility will be then to look after and raise the chicks. And what's actually quite cool is when the chicks are still small, so anything from about 3 to 4 chicks I've seen at one time, and the males, in order to protect the chicks, will actually crouch down and he'll scoop them up with his wings into his feathers and underneath his wings and just stand there in order to protect them from predators. Because if it's just one bird standing there rather than one bird with a few chicks, then it makes them very susceptible to predation. So that's how he actually protects them, which does work very well when the chicks are still small. But when the chicks grow older, they no longer are able to fit underneath their dad's wings, and their feet start falling out the bottom. And it's quite an interesting sight to see. So if you ever see an overfat African jacana that looks rather large, just stay and watch for a bit and see what happens. Obviously, don't get too close, don't want to disturb him, but there could be some ticks hiding underneath his wings. So Libra is also commenting on his favorite sighting for the week, and his favorite sighting for the week was the caracal with Eric in Amakara. Oh wow, that sounds like an awesome sighting. Great to see caracal. So yeah, caracal. I've only ever seen caracal during the day once. They are mostly nocturnal species, although you can see them at night, but it is definitely a rare species. If you're not aware of what a caracal looks like, it's kind of like an African version of a smaller African version of a mountain lion. So yeah, they're very tawny in color. Their ears are very beautiful, pointing up ears that are kind of lined with a little bit of white and a little bit of black, and their tails are quite thick and short and stubby. So yeah, kind of African mountain lion, kind of what you can imagine that it looks like. Awesome to see them in Amakara. I know that they almost had a sighting in Amakara a while ago of an African polecat. That would have been epic. I think they actually got the tracks. I think it was Andrew. The tracks of their little polecat, which again is also on my list. I've not seen a polecat before. Also a little African, almost looks like a skunk, but an African version of a skunk, black and white little creature that is very nomadic and yeah, very, very rare to see. So nice sighting of a caracal at Amakala last week. There's our hardy dark calling, letting us know that he is around. All right, let's go back to Oldonyo and see what is waiting for us at Oldonyo over in Kenya. Well, seems like we have quite a lot of activity at Oldonyo. Lots of elephants coming through for a midday drink. We've had some nice giraffe. This actually looks like a new giraffe that's come down. He's a lot darker than the other giraffe that we had earlier. We were already at Oldonyo earlier today. And we also have some zebra. There's been a lot of zebra activity this morning. Always makes me happy. So I don't know. We were also just having a bit of a catch up and an update on what's happening in the wild earth world. I know this weekend in South Africa there were lots of people wearing their rugby jerseys. So I know there was a lot going on with the rugby. I don't know if there's anybody out there that was watching the rugby this weekend, but South Africa was doing very well. Great to see all the supporters in South Africa wearing their green rugby jerseys. So, yeah, South Africa beat Wales this weekend. Unfortunately, the Bulls did lose to Glasgow. But yeah, I know all of the South African supporters out there will definitely be very happy about the rugby results this weekend. Any big rugby fans out there? Yeah, it's always lovely to kind of get together and watch sports. And yeah, South Africa is very patriotic when it comes to the rugby. And yeah, I must say I do enjoy watching a rugby game every now and then. So we did have a question from Muzi Ntuli asking how old is the oldest elephant in Africa. So I do know one of the old elephants which has actually passed away in 2020 from Kenya. His name was Tim, and he was one of the biggest and oldest elephants to have survived for so long. I mean, obviously, these big elephants with big tusks, yeah, they are very much a target. So to survive such a long age is quite impressive. And I think he died at about 50 years. Although I do know some elephants that have survived longer in sanctuaries or in zoos that have lived up from about 55. I think there was one record of one that was 58. I know there have been recorded to have lived up to 60. So, yeah, if an elephant can reach the age of 50, I think that is pretty impressive. Um, but yeah, now obviously elephants are very much sought after for their ivory and for their tusks. So yeah, to have these tuskers is still alive is quite a challenge. It's great the national parks that are helping to protect these wild animals and also the tuskers in order to still have a very good gene pool. So Canine Girl, apparently you are a big rugby person. Awesome, awesome. Glad to hear you have some fans watching today. And I'm glad you enjoy watching the box. I believe there was the Bulls, something happened in one of the teams, and the Bulls did have to step in and also help play uh, for the boxes, I believe. So, yeah, that must have been a rather interesting game to watch. But yeah, if you live in South Africa and you see people wearing their green Springbok colours, you definitely know that there's something going on with all the rugby. My grandmother's a huge rugby fan, so I always know when all the rugby's happening. And cricket, she also enjoys watching the cricket too. So whenever that's happening, yeah, it's always great to be involved in um, sports and the outdoors. So we were talking a bit of an update on what was happening. We had a nice update on Wild Earth and some news from our sunrise and sunset safaris in the week. Um, had a bit of an update on sport, rugby, some South African news, and some wildlife news that I thought would be interesting to know if anyone's heard about the rewilding project that's actually going on at the moment. There were some rhinos that were introduced by African parks into the Kruger National Park. Um, yeah, there's amazing to see these rhinos being reintroduced into these areas. It's an amazing initiative, and yes, a big thank you. And of course, taking our hats off to these incredible people that work so hard to reintroduce wildlife into these areas. Well, lots of elephant dung around this pan. Obviously, you can see it's been very busy today, um, and really lovely to watch some of these butterflies. I know there's some common yellows flying around there, some other very small white butterflies. Again, we were talking about earlier how um, if I'm on a walk in the bush, it's always great to check out any pans or water or mud. That's generally where you find your nice fresh tracks. Some white butterflies there. It could be the white-veined butterfly. Generally white with a little bit of a black tip. And birds up in the tree, still looking and listening for any birds you can hear. Nice to hear those grey hornbills. Definitely sounds of nature make you miss the African bush. We have some birds up there. So we have a lot of acacia species, it seems like, within this area. And isn't it crazy how a giraffe will actually feed on the leaves from these acacia trees? So giraffes' tongues, they have very long tongues, almost about 30 centimeters long, and they're actually blue in color. And what they'll do is they'll actually wrap their tongues around those nasty thorny branches and pull towards them to remove the leaves. And that's what giraffes feed on. Use a bit of a hide here. Great place to sit next to this watering hole. There's some zebra over there. Quite a nice setting today here in Kenya, in Oldonyo. These clouds. And this watering hole has definitely been busy. Oh, let's head over and see where we've got some more elephant activity today. Welcome back to elephant activity here. Looks like these elephants have come to check out the watering hole. Definitely very dry here. You can see a lot of elephant activity here, so it's easy to see if there's elephants have been in an area. Generally around the watering areas, it will be quite flattened, lots of elephant dung, and a lot of the vegetation would have been fed on around the watering holes. Looks like we've got another elephant coming for a drink here. We are enjoying all of these elephant sightings today. We have had lots of luck with elephant and zebra. Oh, we've got a little terrapin there. Just to the right of this elephant, there's a tiny little terrapin making its way to the road. Maybe going to find another water source. It looks like there's not much water at this watering hole. So that little terrapin is probably making its way to another water hole. While we have some more elephants coming to drink. Terrapins can actually move quite great distances from one watering hole to the other. I've once seen a terrapin more than 15 kilometers away from water. They have a great sense of direction and telling where they can find more water because they don't want to be in a pan when it dries up. So I've just got a question from Andrew, the video guy, who's just seen a link on the demise of roaming antelope by starvation in Marlow Park. He's asking if this true. Is this true? Is it Andrew, the video guy? I'm not 100% sure about this particular case in Marlow Park, but I have been to Marlow Park before, and I have spent a lot of time in Kruger National Park. Yeah, knowing that area, yeah, it is also, we're having a severe drought within a lot of regions in southern Africa this year. I know definitely in places I've been to in Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Namibia, it is very, very dry. So I would not be surprised if this is the case in Marlow Park. I know a lot of parks this year might have to think about substitute feeding in order to help keep the wildlife alive. Um, I know obviously this is a bit of a controversial topic. Some parks will just leave nature be as is, but in other areas where the animals are actually fenced in, they would need to substitute feed. Just got a little, I think it could be a little three-banded plover to the left by this little watering hole where the elephants are drinking out of. If anyone can have a better view and can disagree with my sighting, please just let me know. Looks like a little three-banded plover could be. But yeah, we were talking about Marloth Park and a lot of the animals really struggling with water there this year. Look at this elephant skin. So wrinkly. Okay, so I think the plover was further down to the left at the watering hole. Yep, here we go. Elephant toes, and those nails, cool. Look around. Yep, oh, there we go. Three-banded plover. Nice one. Another bird to add to our list. Yeah, but yeah, unfortunately this year we've had terrible rainfalls. I know in some areas the rainfall's been less than 200 mils, 150 mils of rain within a year, which is pretty crazy, I must say. I've once experienced in West Africa 350 mils of rain in less than 24 hours, which is more than in Southern Africa. Some regions experience less rain than that in a whole year. So imagine that amount of rain in 24 hours. So a lot of regions this year in Southern Africa are really going to struggle with wildlife, having enough food and enough water to drink. Um, of course, this does make for a predator's paradise. I know Cedric was always telling me about how in the drought years, oh, we've got some more elephants there that look like they've been feeding. And Cedric has told me a few stories of in the worst drought years that he's been in Juma have always been incredible sightings for wildlife and hunts for lions, hunting buffalo. So it can be an advantage to reduce some populations that might be overpopulated. But yeah, it's going to be a hard year this year with drought. So you can see obviously this is an artificial water source, which again, as we were speaking about the drought, is very important within some of these very dry regions in order to provide enough water for all the wildlife. All these youngsters, be careful not to be left behind. Looks like a little young bull. Sometimes the cheekiest of all. They have a lot of confidence, these young elephant bulls, when they have their big mothers close to them to protect them. You've been on a few safaris, you always notice those are always the bravest and most confident within a herd. Definitely give you a bit of a charge here and there. It's nice to have a big mother to protect you in times when you. What do we have here? Seeing how much water the elephants have drunk from this water hole. It's incredible how much elephants can drink in a day. I've seen elephants emptying pans and swimming pools within a few hours. The elephants need a lot of water every day, especially in these hot summer days. I mean, it's lucky now, it's still winter, but in a few months, August, September, it's going to be very hot. So, I mean, an elephant per day needs anything from about 70 to 80 or 90 liters of water, or 18 to 20, 30 gallons of water in a day. So imagine having to drink that amount of water every day. They need to be able to move and drink. Generally, elephants will drink anything from about 1 to 2 times a day to find enough water. I mean, a big adult male elephant, like the big bulls we've been seeing today, can drink anything from about 200 and to 220, 230 liters of water a day. All right, let's see if we can go find some more birds at in tow. We have some more birds here at Nkau. Yeah. We have the black-winged stilts that look like they're actually having a nice nap. Perfect for a sunny Sunday. Black-winged stilts. See, actually, they've all three of them are only standing on one leg. Ooh, we also have a looks like a spur-winged goose down there. Also having a nice bit of a bath, having a swim, having a clean. Could be nice male, as he's got quite a lot of red on his face there. You can also hear those wax bills, blue wax bills calling again, but I've already added that one to our list. So spurring geese, I know that in Cape Town, I don't know any other areas that actually sell spurring geese, but I know in Cape Town there is a special cuisine restaurant that does actually sell the spurring geese as part of their menu, and it's very good. Oh, there's a black crake, looks like. Nice, perfect. Sounds like oh, looks like we've got something interesting that's just popped up at Founder's Waterhole. What could it be? Oh, wow, have a look in the Eastern Cape. Look what we have here. A nice rhino also coming down for a drink. This is a white rhino. He's also got some little oxpecker friends that have come to visit him. Oh, it looks like he is rather thirsty. Check out this sand, the difference of the color in the sand in the Eastern Cape here than what we've been seeing in like Oldonyo or over at Tembe. So I find a lot of rhinos, depending on the areas they might occur in, obviously their skin color will change a little bit because rhinos do also like to spend a lot of time at watering holes like this, mud wallowing. So we're just talking about water and how much water, like elephants can also drink in a day, and elephants can hold anything from about 8 to 10 liters in their trunk per day. Sorry, in their trunk at one time. So imagine being able to drink 8 liters at a time. I would love that. It would be great. I love drinking my water. Water is a very important source of life. Just like animals need to survive with lots of water, so do us humans. I think we often forget that we need to drink water. Always good for the heart and soul. To keep the body feeling fit and strong. So see with this elephant, this rhino, so nice big rhino bull. So with the white rhino, you can see obviously how thick his neck is. Wow, we have another rhino coming in to join us. Listen, hear the sounds. Maybe there'll be some interaction. Wow, isn't this an incredible sighting, these two rhinos here? So rhino also needs quite a lot of water per day, anything from about 50 to 60, possibly even 70 liters of water for a big bull like this. Welcome back everybody. We are in the Eastern Cape here, and we have two amazing rhinos, white rhinos, having a nice drink here. So we're talking about these rhinos and like the skin color. So obviously I've seen sort of very different colored rhinos. Actually, so rhinos and warthogs and obviously also elephants, depending on the different regions you find them in and the different soil types, it also changes the color of their skin. So obviously over in the Eastern Cape here, you can see the soil is very red in color. Might also just be the color of the soil that's around this watering hole. So it kind of changes the color of these specific animals. These rhino obviously got a nice tan tinge to them. But obviously over in countries like Namibia, you get those white ghostly looking elephants as well as the warthogs. I've actually worked in a place in KwaZulu-Natal where again the soil was very red, similar to this soil here in the Eastern Cape, and the warthogs going in and out of their burrows, which were very red in color. They actually looked very tan. They looked like supermodels. They had these blonde manes and very well tanned skins. So lovely to see these. Actually having a lot of luck here with our wildlife. We've had some awesome sightings of zebra, my favorite. Lots of elephants this morning. We've had some giraffe, zebra, and now we've got some rhinos. Had some nice elephant interactions. And we were actually just talking about the rhinos and the rewilding project in the Kruger National Park that African Parks is involved with. I believe on the 7th of June, I stand to be corrected though, but I believe it's the 7th of June, they reintroduced 120 rhinos back into the Kruger National Park initiative of African Parks. Welcome back if you're just joining us. We're in Eastern Cape here where we've got two white rhinos having a nice drink at this watering hole, and obviously they're not too phased how salty their water tastes. I've also seen wild dogs at Duma also urinating in the same puddle that they were drinking out of. Obviously not too phased at all. But I guess when you drink anything from 50 to 70 liters of water a day, you do need to urinate quite a lot. So these look like two white rhino bulls. I must say, I always love seeing rhino tracks. Always makes me really excited. You can see in this one that's closer to us, you can see how he's got these three toes. And to me, rhino tracks always look, especially white rhino, always looks like someone's gone and kind of drawn the nails in, because you can always see those nails are quite prominent. So if you're confused between a hippo track and a rhino track, always go and look for those toenails in the rhino track. So yeah, talking about rhinos today. So obviously these are white rhinos we've got here, which now are they're still near threatened, but they're not as critically endangered as our black rhino. So black rhino populations, as of 2023 last year. It's difficult to get an exact estimate, but yeah, just a rough idea on your black rhino populations, which is the Diceros bicornis, is anything around 6,000 to 6,500 individuals that are left in Africa. Whereas with the white rhino, their populations are still doing very well at around 16,000, so about 10,000 more than the black rhino population. So obviously, yeah, black rhinos are a lot more threatened than these white rhino, which is what we're watching now. And I must say, it is nice to see some rhinos with their horns on. These guys still have horns, although you can see they have been dehorned. So generally, I have been involved in quite a lot of rhino dehorning operations and game capture operations. So generally, dehorn rhinos, most reserves, anything from about 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, would definitely be necessary to dehorn them within 4 years. Again, it is a very costly operation to dehorn these individuals. So yeah, it involves helicopters and ground teams. Veterinarians need to come through. During these dehorning operations, it's always a great time to do the ear notching for young individuals. You can see this one on the left-hand side. It's got an ear notch. So it's kind of like their IDs or their ID card. Each different individual has a different notch. While they do these dehorning operations, is also a great time to put into trackers in their horns if need be, and also put on tracking collars if they need the rhinos to be tracked as well. So it's very few places that you can actually see rhinos still with their beautiful long horns. Again, another controversial topic as to whether you dehorn or don't dehorn. But actually, their horns are just made of a keratin substance. So basically, like fingernails or like hair, they actually has no value at all. But unfortunately, this is the thing that has made a lot of the rhino species become very vulnerable. Oh, we got their nice reflection in the water there. So there are actually 5 rhino species left in the world. So obviously we have the white rhino, which we're looking at now, the black rhino, which is also in southern Africa. We also have the greater one-horned rhino, which the populations are about 4,000 plus minus. Then we also have the Sumatran rhino, which populations are very low at the moment. Anything between 30 to 40 individuals, maybe 50 maximum. Again, it's difficult to count these individuals. And then the closest to extinction is the Javan rhino, which is only about 70 to 80 individuals. And I believe most of them are actually in captivity. So they're trying to kind of reintroduce the population and breed them in captivity and then reintroduce. Nice to see those rhinos today, I must say. The Eastern Cape is looking a lot more clear, not as many clouds as we had in Oldonyo and over in Tembe. Still looking like a nice winter's afternoon. Let's have a scope out and a listen and see if we can see any birds. I don't know if any of our viewers there spend much time at hides or birding hides or watering holes, but I must say we were talking about earlier how patience is definitely a virtue when it comes to wildlife. As long as you always appreciate being there, any sightings that come along is always a bonus. And yeah, some of my best sightings, I will say, have been sitting at waterholes for hours and hours on end. Of course, always with a tea coffee box, lots of rusks or some cookies to keep you entertained, binoculars, bird book. Yeah, and wait and see what comes out next. Oh, of course, I forgot your cameras. I love sitting with my camera. This would be a beautiful photo right now of this rhino with its reflection in the water. Probably one of the same bulls that's just been here. Come back for another drink. So Sarah is asking a question about what are some of the signs that species are overpopulated. So yeah, it's kind of part of a, if you have game reserve or reserve management's job are always to kind of monitor species and how animals are doing. So, for example, we were just talking about game capture. So, when you do game capture, a lot of the times veterinarians will take blood samples and test the DNA of these animals, and they can actually test whether they're inbred or have been interbred, meaning that maybe a mother has bred with her son or a father has bred with his daughter. For example, in rhinos, this does happen quite a lot, especially with the white rhinos and the black rhino, because a lot of the problems with the rhino nowadays is especially black rhino. So my dad has actually spent most of his career breeding black rhino in Zimbabwe, and the biggest problem we have in Zimbabwe when it comes to black rhino, and I know South Africa has the same problem, is the areas that these species are doing well are overpopulated and there's no safe spaces to new animals. So, just as with rhinos, they then interbreed, which is a sign of overpopulation. Impala obviously will get are another species that overpopulate very quickly. Um, and one of the signs is that they often will get mange. So you see individuals that will get like a parasite on the skin and will start. This rhino is giving us a bit of a sigh, a Sunday sigh. What a week. So we're talking about impala and mange, and yeah, I've seen quite a few individuals. So they'll get mange, which is a sign of too many individuals. Starvation can be another sign of overpopulation. If there's not enough food, not enough water, animals become stressed. Mange can be a result of that. Um, yeah, so these are all things we would look for. Zebra as well. It's very rare to see a sick zebra, and a sign of an unhealthy zebra is when its mane flops over. Um, and if you see a thin zebra, which is again very rare, this can also be a sign of stress due to limited food, um, and also obviously maybe some diseases, interbreeding. Let's just enjoy a few silent moments if you're into your yoga, which I love my yoga. I'm gonna get into like a nice little yoga pose here, sit on the floor, connect with the earth, and just enjoy this beautiful view that we have in front of us here. Awesome. Well, let's go over to Aldonio in Kenya and see what's happening there. Apparently, we have some more activity. Thank you, Mr. Rhino, for giving us a good show today. Welcome back to Old Donio, folks. We've definitely had a lot of activity here today, which has been super awesome. The elephants have been really entertaining. We've got two nice bulls here. This is probably the biggest tusker we've seen today on the right. We also saw some nice tuskers and tembe, which was great. Two bulls that were also having a little bit of a, more like a play fighting interaction going on there. So we're just on the Eastern Cape with this two really impressive rhino bulls that, yeah, went down for a drink, and it was completely clear, not a single cloud in the sky. Whereas over here in Aldonio, we've got some nice clouds building up, and it looks like there's a bit of a breeze. Looks like it must still be a pretty warm day, as lots of activity has been happening around this town here. We had some zebra earlier, some giraffe. I'm hoping that our viewers will help us with some identification of some birds. We're doing identification on any bird's sight and sound for today. So please send through any birds you might hear or see that I have missed. I know back at home some of you have giant TVs that you can see a lot more than what we can see sometimes. So please feel free to send in any bird IDs. Oh, we've got a giraffe. Hello. Did have two giraffe bulls having a bit of a joust earlier. It was always awesome to see the giraffe having a bit of a fight. On my last trip in Namibia, we had two bulls fighting, and well, I must say, yeah, one of them almost fell down to the ground. So when the giraffe are fighting like this, they always need to avoid falling down, because if they get down onto the ground, the opponent has all the advantage, and it's also very difficult for them to get back up again. There's quite a few documentaries out there, I think in Tanzania as well, and Kenya, giraffe fighting, fighting to the death, and yeah, it can get quite nasty, I must say. I'm also hoping we might get some superb starlings coming down to the waterhole today. It was super awesome to see some superb starlings. We did see the wattled starlings earlier, only females unfortunately, but if you want to see a very strange and impressive looking bird, I would suggest Googling the male wattled starling. Quite an unusual looking creature, an unusual looking bird. As you can see, the swan bull is having a nice mud bath, nothing better to do on a hot day like today. And on the left, you can just see the back end of this other bull that's already finished drinking at the watering hole. He's had a nice bath, enjoying a dust bath too. I'm just taking today super nice, super easy. I hope you've all had a super amazing week, and this is a great time to just take it easy, take it slow, enjoy this beautiful scenery we have in front of us. Maybe do some yoga, take a walk, and enjoy the rest of the weekend before the next busy Monday starts. He's got an itchy foot. Got a nice breeze here to cool things down a little bit. I believe they had quite bad flooding this year in Aldonio, so it's quite crazy. We were talking about earlier. Oh, the elephant's is having a nice leg stretch. Maybe he's also getting his yoga in for the week. We were talking about earlier, so the drought in certain parts of Africa. I know Marlow Park is probably really struggling, and parts of Kruger also struggling with not enough water, not enough food for the animals. But in Kenya, I know earlier this year, they had actual, they're flooding, too much water. I know a lot of camps were actually flooded. I saw videos of camps being flooded, game viewers, beautiful land cruises floating down the rivers. So yeah, they had severe flooding in certain parts of Kenya this year. So yeah, apologies to our thoughts go out to all these camps that might have lost. Um, yeah, had a lot of damage done to their camps during the floods. I hope that they have managed to rebuild and get operating soon. And yeah, I hope that the water didn't cause too much of a damage in certain areas, but at least it hopefully provided water to some well needed locations. Oh, this elephant bull looks like he's having quite a nice stretch. He's doing some nice stretches in his legs and the back. It also seems a bit indecisive, so often elephants will do that if they're indecisive, if they wanna what they wanna do next, or kind of what the next plan of action might be. They'll often lift up one of their legs and kind of hover it above the ground. So elephants will get a lot of communication through the ground. A lot of kind of infrasound will be absorbed through their feet, and that's kind of possibly a good way of deciding what's the best option, what they should do next. A lot of communication comes through the ground that elephants have incredible feet that pick up so much information. And I'm sure also they can sense weather. There's big storms coming. I know I've been watching at watering holes or in bays in West Africa, elephants very calmly, for example, now at a watering hole, very calm and relaxed, drinking, and then next thing, the weather is completely clear. Not a, you wouldn't even think a storm was coming, and next thing the elephants all take off and disappear. And less than an hour later, there's a huge storm rolls in. So they're very, very good at picking up these things and changes in the climate and the environment. We've got some acacias here. We're having a look to see if we can see any birds in there. We were also talking about how giraffe feed on these nasty acacia branches as well as elephants. So if you come, so Abby is asking if there is a common elephant herd structure. So yes, Abby, generally elephants will be in breeding herds. The breeding herds can be anything from uh, 2 to up to 300 individuals. I know in Zimbabwe the largest herd of elephants recorded is the presidential herd, which in the dry season, again in the rainy season they'll kind of fragment into smaller groups. But in the dry season, in times of drought and hard times where food and water is limited, they will generally congregate into huge groups, again, which can be up to 300 individuals. Oh, this grass has been such a nice thing. Isn't this an incredible creature? Look at that skin. Again, we were talking about just now how an elephant can hold anything from about 7 to 10 liters of water in its trunk at one time. Not giving myself a bit of a scratch there. If you've ever touched elephant skin, it is actually very, very thick. There's a lot of wrinkles there. Um, and it's very strong, their skin. Obviously, their ears do get tattered in the bush. They get caught on those nasty acacia thorns, and it can rip away at their ears. Their eyelashes are very long in order to protect their eyes from insects or any debris that might be trying to get into their eyes. They've also got this little bit of fluff just by the openings of their ears as well, which again prevents any foreign objects from getting into their ears, the actual opening of the ear. Really awesome to see the texture of this elephant skin. Let's have a listen to hear him moving. The African elephant. Is this an incredible creature? Or we might be having some slight sound interference. I've been to Kenya. Yeah, we've had an incredible day today with zebra sightings and lots of elephants having mud baths. Unfortunately, no pool parties today, but maybe it is because it is winter. So I do find generally in winter, elephants don't always like to swim as much as they do in the hot summer months. And this elephant bull is enjoying himself here. Zebras seem a little bit nervous, I must say. Um, it's nice that this bull is sharing. Ellie bull is sharing the waterhole quite nicely with the zebra. Early we had an elephant bull that would not share with anyone. He let the warthogs drink with him, but when the zebra came to drink, this other bull earlier today chased the poor zebra away. Oh, that looks like a nice pregnant female. Oh, she looks like she's about to pop really soon. So zebras have the same gestation period as horses, so anything from about 360 to 365 days gestation period. Yeah, so we'll be closing in a few minutes. There's still a very strange bird calling in the background, which I'm not too sure what the sound is. If anyone is aware of what its sound is, it's got a weird like wah wah sound. So please feel free to send in if you have any idea. There's a tiny little, looks like an agama of some sort at the bottom left of the screen here. It's also enjoying the last few hours of sunshine for today. Um, really grateful for seeing so many zebra. Just saw a very pregnant female zebra that looks like she's about to pop any day now. The elephant sightings have been great today. I'm super chuffed to see this tusker here at Oldonyo in Kenya. This plan has been very productive today. So, yeah, it's definitely been a fabulous Sunday here. Let's see, we could see this little agama. You just see the kind of the light color on its belly. We were also really enjoying the butterflies. Lots of butterflies around this waterhole. Obviously, with depleting water sources, yeah, water's definitely limited. These butterflies will come down to any source of water to get some moisture. Now is also a great time to see the butterflies on the road. If you see any elephant dung or predator scat, they'll always be kind of hanging out on the dung there in order to suck up the moisture, get any moisture they can from anywhere. Well, I hope that you have all had an absolutely fabulous Sunday and a very restful weekend. Thank you very much for joining us here live at the waterhole. We are in Kenya, in Old Donyo, and I'm super grateful for all the incredible wildlife sightings we've had today. We are very happy to have had you joining us on the show, and I hope that you'll be joining us for the sunset safari, maybe to get some rosettes if possible. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday and welcome the new week with lots of positive energy. Have a lovely week, everybody.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Race Day. Welcome to this Sunday afternoon. Welcome here to the tent on Juma Private Game Reserve. My name is Steve Falconbridge, and I'm joined by Panda on camera, and this is On Safari.